Hi, my name is Stephanie, and I am currently a candidate for bariatric surgery. And while I've been on this journey, it's been about 2 years now. I've noticed that there's not many like YouTube videos that kind of explain the full process from start to finish. And so, being somebody that struggles a little bit with anxiety, that's something I've been looking for. So, I figured I would film and talk about my experience for those in the future that are going through the same thing. So, I guess I'll start at the beginning. It's the best place to start. um, I have struggled with weight my entire life. Even as a young girl, like 6 or 7 years old, I remember comments being made, and it's just been something I struggled with. In high school, I put on a bunch of weight my freshman and sophomore year just to then struggle with anorexia and bulimia my junior and senior year. So, food has always been a roller coaster for me. After struggling with anorexia and bulimia and like overcoming it, I kind of went from one extreme to the other. So being underweight and not eating enough to being overweight. In between there, I was healthy. I ran half marathons. I did 5Ks. I swam. I was a very active person. I still am. I don't run half marathons anymore, but I'm still pretty active. But so back to like my journey chronologically, I got married, and like most couples, after you get married, you tend to start trying to have kids. I miscarried, and it was probably about 3 months into my marriage when that happened. It was devastating for me because I want to be a mom, and I ate. I don't know. I ate my feelings, so I put on a little bit of weight around then. Um, then I got comfortable in my marriage, so I call it the marriage 15. So I put on a little bit more weight because of that. And then I miscarried 2 more times, and during that period, I really ballooned. Like, I'm talking, I put on 150 pounds in about a year and a half. It's pretty insane, but so probably about a year into the whole balloon phase, I was talking to my physician, and I explained to her that I didn't like how I looked. It made me sad. I didn't like looking at myself in the mirror. I was struggling with depression, and so then she suggested that maybe I start looking into bariatric surgery. And I was one that was always like kind of avoided it because I had always heard that it was like the easy way out, and that if you were going to lose weight, you should exercise and diet. But I humored her, so I looked up a few surgeons in my area. I went to one of the intake meetings, and I liked what I heard because they spoke kind of like my lifeline. Always struggling with weight, and then they explained to me that there's a point that you get to with weight that you can't exercise it off, and it's very hard to diet it off as well. And there are a lot of triggers for people that make it really easy to put weight on, whether that be food being an abundance here in America, or people stay up late all the time because of the invention of the light bulb. Duh. But that's not in our human makeup to be able to stay up as late as we do. And so a lot of times you find yourself binge eating in those late hours, and then you stretch your stomach out, and by the time that you don't like the way you look or you're experiencing health problems, your stomach is stretched out. Therefore, it's harder to fill it up. So then by the time it is filled up and you've had enough, you've had too much. And so nobody likes the feeling of starving themselves. So that's what makes it hard to lose weight once you get to a certain point. So keep that in mind while you're looking, because I was so hard on myself and come to find out that yes, it partially is my problem, it partially is not. I was also diagnosed with PCOS. So a big side effect of most people diagnosed with PCOS is weight gain. But the best way to treat PCOS and some of the symptoms is to lose weight. Right? So the side effect is to gain weight, but you've got to counteract it somehow to lose the weight. And so that's also what turned me on to weight loss surgery, is it was going to help me address that problem, which will address my infertility problems, hopefully. So as I said, I went to one surgeon, and I learned that you really need to click with your surgeon. So, I didn't really feel that connection with the first one. And so then I thought, well, maybe I just don't feel the connection with the weight loss surgery in general. So I took about a year and I didn't look into it anymore, but I continued to balloon. I continued to put on weight, and then it started affecting my sleep and how I can walk, and even like how long I can talk. Like I was at a point where it was hard to talk and without heavy breathing. So I decided, after going to a doctor's appointment again and realizing that I had put on 75 more pounds, that it was time to really look at myself. And so I went to another surgeon first appointment, and it was about the same thing. I just didn't feel that connection. I didn't feel comfortable. You want to take a look at your surgeon's background, and so that surgeon just didn't click well for me either. And he actually didn't sit very well for my husband either. Just the process that they took for getting to the weight loss surgery just would have been more expensive. Pardon me, that's my dog in the background. I don't know what she's doing, but so I didn't go with that doctor. But I went to another one this past January. So right now it is June 18. And so I went to this first intake appointment January 8. And I just clicked really well with the surgeon. Like, I liked how he addressed everything. I liked his stats. I liked how long he'd been in the profession. His bedside manner was amazing. And this surgeon is also Christian, which was a big thing for me because I'm also Christian, and just it made me feel better. So I decided to move forward with him. So what that looks like when you find your surgeon and you want to move forward, what that looks like is you then do what's called an intake appointment. And with the intake appointment, the surgeon weighs you, obviously, and gets your measurements, and then he comes and talks to you and gives you all of your options. So in Michigan and in most of America, I'm told, there's 3 options now. You can have the gastric sleeve, which is what I'm going to be having, and that's where they go in and cut 80% of your stomach out and remove it, and then like put a soldering line, like a staple line or a stitch line, to make it smaller. So you go from having a pouch to having like a tube. and that just makes it so you don't fit as much food in your stomach. They usually, if you're younger and don't have a ton of health problems, that's the one that they kind of want you to go for because it's the least invasive. Usually they tell you you're up and moving 3 to 4 days after. They want you walking the same day after the surgery. And when he offered that one up, I was excited because I've never had surgery yet. So I'm a little bit afraid. But there are 2 other ones. There's I call it the NY route. I forget the full name, but if you Google NY route, it will pop up. That one's pretty invasive. That one, I can't even remember the full terminology. So if you Google it, you'll see. And then, babe, what was the other one? My husband's here. See? Say hi, Dave. Oh. What was the third one?
We had Roux-en-Y, gastric sleeve, and I think it was lap band.
No, that's the one they don't do anymore.
Right.
Either way, there's also lap band, which used to be a option, but most surgeons don't do that anymore because the long-term success rate was terrible for that one. And you pretty much had to go through the same healing regimen as getting the sleeve done, which the sleeve has a lot larger success rate long-term. So they don't do the lap bands anymore. But a lot of people think when you say I'm getting the sleeve done, they think that you're getting the lap band done. So make sure that when you're like talking about it, you make the difference. Like, make sure you know that they know the difference because a lot of my friends and family did not. So yeah, at that first appointment, they'll talk about all the surgery options and then take in your health history and then take your insurance as well. Yeah, that's about all they did for the first appointment. They set you up to do blood work because you have to make sure you're healthy enough to have the surgery. If your BMI is a certain amount, like mine was exactly 50, which I know seems high, but there are people with higher BMIs than that. But I could not lose weight. Otherwise, I would have to go through a 6-month program. But if your BMI is 50 or higher, you can qualify for the surgery right away. So I'm not suggesting like have your weight be really high because that's just more work you have to do in the long run. But I mean, it was kind of helpful in my situation because it means less doctor's appointments. So that's less copay for me. But so yeah, then after you leave that appointment, then you do blood work. Don't ask me all of the blood work they test for. I know like one was iron and certain levels of your vitamins and stuff, but it's just pretty routine blood work. Then they set you up for a psych eval because a lot of people go into surgery thinking it's going to be the quick fix. It's going to be what makes them happy. If they're sad right now, they're only sad because they're fat, and that's honestly not the case. They teach you that, and I actually was set up with a therapist, so I was one of those people that thought if I could just lose the weight, I would just be happy, and there were a lot of other problems that I needed to address. Yeah, a lot. But that's why you do the psychological evaluation. So they can help you with that. You know, they want you to be successful because your success is their success. So be honest in that appointment. That's the biggest thing I can tell you. I was tempted to lie to some of the questions, but in the long run, that just hurts you. So be honest. After that, you make an appointment and you meet with a dietitian. Sometimes they try to schedule those 2 appointments on the same day, and sometimes it doesn't work out. But I met with a dietitian after that. She went through what my pre-op diet would look like if I chose to go with the surgery, and what my post-op diet would look like, and if I felt that I could do that if I had the mental, I don't want to say capacity, mental strength to do that. It's a pretty rigid thing that you have to do before and after. So I get why you have that appointment. It's so you can make sure you know what you're getting into, because if you eat the wrong stuff before surgery, you could risk not being able to have the surgery. And then if you eat the wrong stuff after surgery, you can risk tearing your stomach, and that is just a terrible thing and could potentially lead to a lot of problems. But so after you meet with a dietitian, and they give you time to figure out, like if it's for you or not, then I decided that it was for me, I still wanted to go through with this. So they had me meet with a therapist for a while because I had some stuff I had to work through. As I said, you go in sometimes thinking, if I could just get skinny, then I'd be happy. But they don't want you to have that mindset. They want you to realize that, the same problems are going to still be there whether you're fat or skinny. So that was a big eye-opener for me. But after meeting with my therapist for a little bit, then they allowed me to move forward to what's called my optimization appointment. And at your optimization appointment, they take your body weight again to make sure that you're staying on track. And they take some blood samples again. They tested for pre-diabetes for me, which I thank the Lord don't have. And they take all of the vitamins and meds that you are on and make sure that they put it in the system correctly, which was helpful because I was taking some vitamins that I'll actually have to stop taking 10 days before my surgery, and they wouldn't have known that if I didn't have that appointment. So then the doctor that does your optimization appointment will tell your surgeon, yep, they're good for surgery, or nope, I think they need to work on this first. And for me, it was, yep, she's good. So then my surgeon calls me, and you set up what's called a final appointment, where you sit down with your doctor and you go, all right, let's do it. Or, no, I don't think so. I think that I'm not ready yet, or whatever. And then he asks you any final questions, or she, sorry. My surgeon's a he, so I'm saying he. But they'll ask you any final questions, and then you can ask them any questions you have. And then they schedule your surgery day, which mine is July 1st, 2020. And then they give you the body wash that you have to use the night before to disinfect everything and make sure you're all clean. They, of course, tell you what hospital, especially if you're in an area that has more than one. They set up one more dietitian appointment because you have to follow a pre-op diet. And so I'm going to touch base on that real quick because every pre-op diet for every person is different. So the only thing that really stays the same is that at some point you will be doing a liquid diet. So for me, I'm not as heavy as some of the other patients, so I don't have to do a 2-week liquid diet, but I do know that there are some patients that have to do that. The point of a liquid diet is to empty out your stomach and to help bring down your weight a little bit and to shrink your liver because it sits right in the way of your stomach. So for me, I've been doing a 1,000 calorie diet now. This is day 3. And that's so hard. Oh my gosh, I didn't think it would be that hard. And I've decided that I'm actually kind of going to stay in during this process of my weight loss surgery, because I was out and about the first day and I didn't realize how many temptations are out there. And to be honest, I haven't put 2 years in to fail the pre-op diet. So I personally have decided to kind of stay in. Not saying that everybody does that, but that's my choice. On my 1,000 calorie diet, I can only have high protein. So I can't have any starches, I can't have any fruit, so no carbs. I've been drinking the Premier protein shakes to make sure I get enough protein in. Lots of vegetables. Yeah, because they don't have very many calories, and they fill you up. So if you have to do the 1,000 calorie diet, stock up on vegetables. What my dietitian said actually was during this phase to protein first, and then if you're still hungry, add vegetables. So that's my little word of advice. So that's all I really have to talk about for right now. I'm going to continue to do videos because, as I said, I was looking for somebody that did like the whole process, and I haven't really found it. And I was also looking for somebody that was like super honest about the process. And I see a lot of these videos on YouTube that are like, success with my weight loss surgery, and they don't talk about the nitty gritty stuff beforehand. They don't talk about like the other day when I was getting ready for my 1,000 calorie diet, I literally went through my entire kitchen and got rid of anything that I can't eat in this period of time, and I had a breakdown. I cried. It was an attachment thing, and I cried. It's been hard, and they don't necessarily explain that in a lot of the videos I've watched. So I hope that I can be somewhat helpful for somebody in the future. If not, this is also for my friends and family that don't necessarily know what I'm having done. Now they know. Until then, God bless you all, and stay positive.